ní Dáúdà Dáúdù ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ máa gbọ́dọ̀ oúnjẹ máa gbọ́ ẹ̀wọ̀n gbọ́ báyìí ẹ wá di aago mẹ́wàá lẹ́nu ọ̀pọ̀ ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ tí mo pè é pé kí wá bẹ́ẹ̀ ọmọ rẹ̀ láago mẹ́wàá lẹ́nu ẹ wá pẹ̀ títí.
This is the widow of Jimo Abdulkadir narrating events that led to the gruesome killing of her husband by policemen in a lorry. What they did to him was so grave to the extent that the police IG had to pay them a visit in a lorry to express his regrets and commiserate with them. Life is so precious, there's no reason whatsoever or justification for police who are only motivated by money. They are not even interested in solving any crime. They are only motivated by personal gains. There's no reason whatsoever for them to take the life of anyone. This is the Nigeria we have to deal with today. Now to the summary of what she said. She said that on that fateful day, she was in the sitting room with her husband. All of a sudden, his phone rang. The person on the other end of the line told her husband to come outside in front of the building. Immediately he was instructed to do so. They understood that it was the police that sent that man to call her husband. Because of that, she brought out 350,000 naira and gave to her husband. They knew well ahead before the call that her husband was owing someone 220,000 naira. It was the person that reported the matter to the police. As a result of that, the police came to arrest her husband. Now, when her husband came outside of the building, he was arrested by the police. They took him to the police station. At the police station, her husband called them, including his mother, telling them exactly what happened. They now rushed to the police station. When they went there, her mother told the police officer that her husband has 350,000 naira in his pocket. They begged the police to deduct the 220,000 naira from the 350,000 naira in possession of her husband, but they refused, insisting that the complainant will come to the station to see her husband the next day. That's the reason they must detain him till the next day until the complainant arrives at the station. After all entreaties to the policemen, they had to go back to their homes, only to come back the next day to see her husband dead. The policemen now claimed that her husband committed suicide at the station, but there was bruise marks all over him with blood dripping from his head, shoulders, all parts of his body, which shows that he was kind of tortured. Why did the policemen torture him that night at the station? Someone was owing someone 220,000 naira and he came to the station with much more than that. Why didn't they just take that money from him? Even all of them, take everything and spare his life. But they had to torture him and kill him in the process. What is wrong with these people? Reforming the Nigerian police is actually very simple. It doesn't just end with increasing their salaries to maybe about 500,000 naira for entry policemen. That wouldn't solve all the problems, because the corruption alone in the police makes it possible for them to be earning ordinary 20 or 30,000 naira per month. But what they can earn with corruption is limitless. Yes, nearly limitless, because they can go out on the streets and arrest someone and intimidate and extort that person millions of naira. It happens on a daily basis around the country. So the reason why the people in power don't want to reform the police is because they serve their purpose. Look at what Dele Farotimi is going through in the hands of Are Afe Babalola. If the police are reformed, they wouldn't be kidnapping someone on behalf of a client, so to speak. Yes, any big man can write a petition to the police and the police will automatically start obeying his orders and arrest anyone he mentioned in the petition. So that's why they don't want to reform the police. If the police is reformed, police have no business with civil cases. Yes, someone is owing someone. There's nothing criminal about it. He didn't steal the money from the person. The fact that he hasn't repaid the money doesn't mean it is a criminal offense, except he is denying that he's not owing the person. Then the police might get involved. Even at that, it's still a civil matter because he never robbed the person of the money. And the fact that policemen around the country see themselves as ultimate arbiters in all cases contributes to the problem. When people have problems in their family, in their homes, they run to the police and complain. The police will say, invite them. They will write all sorts of things, take the person's phone number and start calling and intimidating them to come to the station. They will start conducting dispute resolution. Mr. A has a problem with Mr. B. Mr. A rushes to the police station to register a complaint. Of course, he must do that with money. He must give the policeman money to receive his complaint. After that, the police will invite Mr. B. When Mr. B arrives at the station, one policeman will sit as a judge over the civil matter. Yes, that's how bad it is. He will ask Mr. A, the complainant, what the problem is. He will say all that he has to say. Then he will turn to Mr. B. Why did you do this? Okay, first, let's hear from you. After saying whatever he has to say, he will declare Mr. B guilty. Yes, that's what happens at many police stations around the country. Policemen turn themselves to judges and executioners. If Mr. B refuses the advice of the police, not even advice, he will be forcing him to do that, to do as Mr. A pleases. In the event that he refuses what they want him to do, they will threaten him. That's if he's not already in a cell under detention, just to make sure they extort a lot of money from him. So that's the situation around the country. Many people go through this, except people who have connections. Maybe he knows people at the area commander or the police headquarters in the state, or even the zonal headquarters. Some even know people at the IG's office in Abuja. That's what Nigerians have to deal with on a daily basis. It's very important to reform the police in every sane society. Without checks and balances, people that are legally armed have a tendency to abuse their powers. Some of them have the tendency of lording themselves over others just because they are armed. You can't do anything to them because they represent the state. They are tasked with law enforcement. And imagine when law enforcement agents are corrupt. Some of them are criminals. Yes, they commit all sorts of atrocities. People who will threaten to kill someone just because he refused to give them money along the road. Bribe money for doing nothing. As a matter of fact, all the money they extort from Nigerians, assuming the people committed traffic offenses, all these money should have gone to the state. Yes, it should have come as a revenue to the state. But the police extort all this money. They don't even look at the books to know if you committed this traffic offense, what's the fine. They stand on the road there and negotiate how much you will pay them. The money goes into their pocket. These days, they don't even have that time. Police will stand on the road. They call it patrol, but they never patrol. They are always stationary, flagging down cars. In some cases, they use their guns. They point their guns at you to stop. That's if you're not stopping quickly enough. They will point at you. They will point the gun at you. Hey, stop, stop, stop. You'll be forced to stop. And they are not interested in checking your car papers. They will just tell you, calm down, open the boot. They will start searching the person. If you look like a young man, they will say, this one is a yahoo, a local slang for a scammer. They will start searching the person, confiscate his phone, start going through his phone. Most of the time, these policemen seize people's phone. The first thing they start looking for is your bank app. If you have any bank app installed in the phone, they will tell you to open the app, put your PIN code. They will check your balance. If they see enough money there, they are going to wipe that money clean. This is the conduct of criminals. They are not policemen. They are legally armed to commit all sorts of atrocities unchecked. Despite the fact that every day when you listen to the news, you will hear some policemen that are court-martialed. Some of them are sacked permanently from the police, but that hasn't deterred any of them. They continue to extort Nigerians on a daily basis. They continue to intimidate, harass, and even kill Nigerians because of money.
You people sit down here, I greet you people.
If you talk,
I greet you people. Sit down now. When I pass, you people sit down, I greet you people.
Nigerian policemen also don't follow procedure. The normal procedure when they arrest someone is to give him access to inform his loved ones, to tell them where he is, so that they wouldn't be looking for him, thinking that he has been kidnapped. It happens all the time in Nigeria. That's why these days people start looking for people at police stations. They start asking nearby police stations if they have so person in their custody, so as to rule out kidnapping. But they don't do all this. Imagine a lawyer coming to see his client in the police station and the policeman refuses him access. Yes, it happened recently to this DJ when he was arrested. Human rights lawyer Effiong went to see him at the station. The policeman denied him access. It's not possible that this can be happening in Nigeria, but it happens. The worst part was that they sneaked him out of the station, rushed him to the courthouse, and charged him with all sorts of fabricated crimes, including treason, simply because he told Nigerian youths in a video that they should return the favor to the Nigerian policemen since they didn't learn anything from End SARS protests in 2020. On top of all that, they still demanded the magistrate court to remand him in prison for 30 days. You can see they are not interested in solving crimes. They are only interested in shutting people up. While they continue beating people, intimidating them, robbing them, they still don't want the people to talk about it.
Bad person, you know bad person. I just buy a nana for myself. I just buy a nana. Stop the bad person, but this dog never bad person.
Dog they get license. If you don't get license,
okay, you go carry and go your office. I go come your office. I know your office. I go come your office. You go carry and go office. I go carry and go your office.
Boss, with the dog go station.
Okay, you carry and go office. Me, I go come office.
In the claim right. Now the truth now they tell them dog they get permit. You understand? If you not get them out, this dog is under arrest. I can arrest this dog to station. But you are claiming that the police are going to say no.